Welcome to this demo of Application Orchestration in the Edge Manageability Framework 3.1. Okay, let's take a quick look at Application Orchestration. So I'm going to go in here. Application Orchestration is all under the Deployments tab. And you'll see there's three sub-items here. There's Deployments, Deployment Packages, and Applications. Deployments are things that are actually deployed to the edge where they can be run. So you can see all of these things here actually running. Some of them are one of one, which means I've sent them to one edge. One of them is two of two. These are things that have been sent to the edge to be run. Deployment packages and applications are things that are in the catalog that are available. Let me click applications here. These are things that the user has decided to upload to the catalog. So the catalog starts out empty, but the user can populate it. You can choose anything you want to be in here. Let me look at one of them like this palette defect detection application. Let me actually go back. I'll do that in edit mode so that we can look inside of it. So this would be the same sort of process that you would use to create this. So an application it represents a single Helm chart. So you can see there's a Helm chart here. Helm chart comes from a particular repository. This one coming from Docker Hub, and there's the URL for it. It has a name within that Helm chart repository, and it has a version. That's how we know what software to install to the edge. Then in here, this is just where the description is. And we can see here there's these things called profiles. These are configurations for the deployment package. So you can see palette defect detection. It's got two profiles. It's got default and it's got this GPU profile. So I'm going to go in here. I'll just edit one of them. I'll edit the default one so you can take a look at it. It's got a name, a description, and then it's got these values. These are values that the developer can put in here to pre-configure the application. And this is just a standard values.yaml file that can be in here, and this could pre-configure the application for you. And then under advanced settings, the developer can list certain settings that they would like to be filled in at deployment time. So maybe there are settings that cannot have defaults. Something like an HTTPS proxy. Your proxy may depend on where you've deployed it. Or something like an access key or a password. Maybe you want to be able to fill those things in at deployment time because they might be different per edge. So that's where these things can be entered, and this will prompt the user when he deploys. They must fill these in. You can mark some of these down as required, some of them as optional, some of them can be secrets, and then this here is just the concluding screen. This is what you'd see right before you created your application. Now, applications represent single Helm charts. Deployment packages are collections of applications, and therefore they represent collections of Helm charts that you want deployed together. Now, I don't have good examples for it in this orchestrator of multiple applications coming together. These here are all deployment packages that only contain a single application. So if we look inside of the PDD deployment package, for example, I'll go in there, edit it. Again, it has a name and a version, a description, but then it has a list of applications that go into it. There's checkboxes here, so I could add more if I wanted to. If I wanted to make a bundle of stuff that gets deployed to the edge as a unit, I could bundle these charts up, and then they all get deployed together. In this case, only the PDD app was added there. Clicking next again, we can see that just like applications had profiles, deployment packages also have profiles. And for a single application deployment, these are just simply a mirror. You just simply expose the application's profile as your deployment package profile. But you can imagine if you had a set of applications, then you could form combinations of their profiles and aggregate those into deployment package profiles. And then again, this is just what the last screen here the user would see if they were creating a new deployment package. So these are all things that are available. So we could take one of these and we could deploy it. I'll just walk you through what one of those looks like. I'm going to hit deploy. This is palette defect detection. I'll select the one that says with Intel GPU. And then it lights up here in red because it wants me to fill some of these in. And some of these are mandatory. Some of them are optional. So I will just type in parameters. And like I say, these were all selected by the developer when they created the application. They chose to have these things filled in. Um, and Intel 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I've got them all filled in. It's happy with me. I can hit the next button. Ignore the fact that I typed in insecure password. Now I can select a type. I can select either a manual deployment where I select exactly the clusters I want to go to, or I can select an automatic deployment. Automatic deployments are based on metadata, and I can enter the metadata for an edge, and it will automatically deploy to all edges that match that metadata. As edges come and go, it will adapt and extend the deployment as necessary. So here, I will give this PDD to, we'll call this to my warehouses, pallet defect detection for my warehouses. And I will enter here a building type warehouse. And that is there. I hit next, and then I'll hit deploy. And now we have a new deployment going out, PDD for the warehouse deploying. There's 0 of 0 because I don't actually have any edges marked warehouse right now. But I did, ahead of time for this demo, I did deploy several applications that we can take a look at. For example, we have this PDD running on an XR12 here. It's running here. You can go inside of it. You can see that it's happy and healthy. You can click this. You can learn a little bit about it, like what are the pods that are running inside of that application? What are the endpoints that it's exposing? And this one of these endpoints is actually the application, and it's actually sitting here on a node port, and I've got that open in my browser. So this here is the pallet defect detection that we're actually running right there. So you can see this is the live one. It's running. It's doing its little sample app thing here, looking at boxes and identifying features and defects on them. There's some other features I wanted to highlight. Let's go back to deployments. Let's take a look at WordPress. So WordPress I deployed to 2 edges, so you can see both clusters down there are listed. Let me just click this one on JF208 down here. And this one has a feature that we call the service link. And what the developer can do, they can make one of the ports so that it has an enhanced tunneling capability. Now you can imagine that a lot of these edges, they're in a factory or a retail location or a warehouse or something, they might be behind a firewall. If you're sitting here at a console at the cloud, you might not be able to reach that edge. So let's say I want to go in and diagnose this. By using Service Link, the orchestrator will automatically tunnel you into that edge so that you can see that application. So WordPress is a blogging program. It's one of the things we use for demos. Let me click it here. And it clicks. It opens up. It went through the service proxy. That's all kind of transparent. You see the URL's a little bit funny here, application service proxy. And you can see we are here inside of the WordPress blog. I'm going to close this, and I will show one more deployment. Let's look at Chat Q&A. This is a RAG LLM chatbot. It's a relatively big application that is deployed. It's deployed to one of our XR12s. It's got lots of pods here, and it also is exposed via Service Link. I'll just show you here that the Service Link websites, they can be interactive. Let me click on this. We go in. It tells us that we just used Service Link for somewhere else, so we'll say, yeah, change it to this, and it tunnels us through to this Chat Q&A here, where I had previously asked a question about what is generative AI. Let's see if I can make a new question. Let's ask, how is generative AI used? And I'll hit this. Again, this is an AI application actually running out there on one of the edge nodes. We can see this Chat Q&A application is kind of thinking about it here. And there, it's talking to us about what generative AI is used for. So everything we do with containers, we can also do with virtual machines. So I have this here is a Ceros VM. Ceros is a Linux operating system distribution. We chose it because it's a nice freely available VM that we can deploy here off of the web. This is not a containerized application. This is a virtual machine application, so it's telling you that here. Open this up. We can see that it's got a virtual machine workload. It doesn't really have any additional details about that. It does have an endpoint here listed right here, down here under action. So with virtual machines, you can start them, stop them, restart them, and you can get a console. And the console feature, it works just like our service link that I just showed you does, in that it will tunnel you to the edge, across any firewalls or NATs or anything like that. So um, I hit that, and now we're in here. And we're here inside of the Ceros virtual machine that is running, using KubeVirt inside of this edge node. Okay, that is it for this application orchestration demo.